All right, in this After Effects lesson, we're going to be looking at the hologram project. In this project, you can see we've got a person who was filmed interacting with the hologram, and this hologram is in 3D space. And now let's look at where we're going to get started here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a screen. This blue screen is going to be our hologram, and it is going to be projected from the base, and the base is this phone that she's holding. And we're going to motion track this screen to the phone, and then we're going to put it in 3D space and give it a three-dimensional look. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, I already dragged my file into the timeline, so my composition has already been created. And now let's go ahead and let's also create our screen. So we're going to do Layer, New, Solid, and let's go ahead and name it our hologram screen. And then we're also going to, I'm right-clicking down here on the timeline and going New, Null Object. Now the Null Object, here, let me get my screen to size first. I'm just grabbing the corner and I'm going to line this center point up with the base. And go back to my null. So this creates a square. This is kind of just my null, and the null is going to be an invisible layer. There's nothing going to be there other than whatever we're going to create these motion tracking points, and we're going to have those points connect to this null object. So whenever we create anything that we want to be connected to this motion tracking section, we can just parent it to the null object. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to select our background, or this hologram. Actually, before I do that, I do want to make sure you guys are in the tracker section. So if you're not already there, go into your workspace and select motion tracking. That way you can have all your tracker options open over here. And once again, let me go ahead and select that hologram.mp4, and under our motion source, we want that to be the same name as our Kirk hologram. So that's what our motion source is going to be, is that Jocelyn Kirk hologram.mp4. Okay, so now that's showing up there. Now that opened up a new layer within that, and that's where our motion tracking is. We're going to see all the points and everything show up on this layer right here, which is a little bit different than our hologram composition, which is right here. So let's go into our layer here, our motion tracking, and let's select that. And we're going to select this button right here, Track Motion. And that is going to bring up a track point. And we're going to zoom in on that a little bit so you can see it. So you have two boxes, and they have these points, and you can drag them out a little bit so you can see them, because it's almost too small to even grab. So I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. Now when you move it, sometimes it's so huge it takes up too much space. So we can make it smaller, and we can grab this one in the on the outside. We can grab it in there and just move it and find the phone about right there. And when you find a spot that you want a little point that you want to select, make sure it's high in contrast, because it looks for the high contrast area. So I'm going to try to try to get that phone in there because it's dark and I got some white sections in here. I'll probably just do the whole phone area. So about right there. Now what I want to do is I want to analyze it. So right down in here, under the Analyze, there's a play button. So it says Analyze Forward. So now make sure you're at the very beginning of where you want to analyze it. And if you need to analyze it, it'll give you a stop button here too. But I'm going to try to go ahead and analyze it to the very end. And sometimes if something gets interrupted, it won't work right and it won't give you this Edit Target option. Now what this is doing, it's going to create a series of points. And then we're going to take those points, those motion tracking points that are going to be connected to our hologram.mp4, we're going to connect those to our null object. So once we get done here, now you can see the points. These are all the points. Let's go ahead and take a look at the points on the MP4. So I'm going to select that layer, I'm going to hit U, and right down here are all my points. Let's just say I want to select and move them. I'm going to select all of them, and with my selection tool, you can actually move it around a little bit if you need to. I'm just going to hit Command Z, I'm going to keep it there. But so now we want to take these points and we're going to move them to our null object. So basically we're kind of like transferring them. So now we're going to hit the we're going to want the Edit Target button, which is right here above the Analyze. So hit that, and this is where we could connect it to the hologram screen, but for this we're going to select the null one. We're going to connect it to that invisible layer, the null layer, in case we want anything else to connect to it. That way we connect everything to this null area. And then hit OK. And then if everything looks okay, we're going to hit the Apply button. And now we have our X and Y dimensions, which is, up and down. X is left and right, and Y is up and down. So we're going to hit OK. And so now we have something connected. So and it went back into our composition. So let's take a look. So now you can see that null is actually moving. Let me select the null layer, and you can see those red points are now connected, which I can tell now because those points are red. Let me go back over here into this hologram. You can see they're the same color as this layer, the hologram layer, our video layer, because it's got that light blue. I'm going to go back over into my composition. Now, in case you want to change the colors of these or anything, you can change these. Let's go into this and maybe make it a lavender. That doesn't show up very well. So I'm just left-clicking. Let's try cyan. Okay. And so you can see the null kind of moving around in the layer. All right, so now we have that connected. So now, if we want our hologram screen to be connected and to move with the base, which is what we really want it to do, all we need to do now is change under our parent. And once again, if you need to get the parent and link to show up, sometimes you might need to right-click in this area right in here, and under columns there'll be parent and link. Make sure that's checkmarked right there. So we're going to link our hologram to the null one. So let's select null one under the hologram screen layer, and now you can see it moves right along with it, so everything's working. All right, good. Now the next step we're going to do is we're going to make this 3D, our screen 3D. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's check the 3D box on our hologram screen. And once again, if you're not showing these options, you might need to toggle switch these options down here on the bottom of the After Effects around a little bit. Okay, so now we have the 3D selected, so let's open that up, and under our transform options, I'm going to look at the X and Y rotation. So let's go ahead and give those a keyframe right now. And I'm just going to go ahead and change those to kind of match the direction that the base is going in. So let's start with the Y. You can kind of see it's almost right, looking right at her, very straight on. Now the X looks like it might be going down a little bit. I might just move it down just a hair. Oops. Oops, I just moved the Y, not the X. Just a little bit like that. Now let's say if I want it to scale up just a little bit, I can do the scale here if you need to. Okay, and it starts moving about here. So let me move my Y, because you can see that this is moving this way and my base is moving that way. So let me move my Y a little bit. Very good. Looks pretty good about there. I think I'm just going to give it a whole keyframe there, because I want to move it here again. So the Y is slightly moved. Let me move it a little bit towards her. And it's kind of covering her face. Let me scale it back down, so I don't want her face covered. So I move the Y. Let me give a keyframe to the X, even though I'm not moving it, just in case I want to move it a little bit downward here. I'll move the X a little bit down that way, and the Y a little bit more towards her. Yep, that looks good. And I'll call this one finished for now. So that's the end of this lesson.